Okay. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Why don't you do an intro?
Hi everybody, this is Lola from Lola and Ryan. We are just wrapping up from the 2025 APP Safe Piercing Conference at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas. We're stationed on the mezz, which is looking very different than it did yesterday.
Yeah, they're setting up for a children's dance event currently.
Yes, so apologies if there's a little bit of background noise, but we are not committed to podcasting under any circumstances. We can't be stopped. Maybe we should be stopped, but we can't be stopped.
We cannot be stopped.
No.
We just went to the Wicked Spoon buffet and ate several plates of food.
Yeah.
So we're very portly. And we have like 3 hours to kill before we leave for the airport. So we thought that we would do a little conference recap for you and talk about some of the highlights from the year. Does anything jump out at you as like the highlight of the year? Other than my kilt.
I mean, apart from getting to pet Blue the dog.
Yeah, the therapy dog. The communal therapy dog.
Yeah. It's, if you're going to bring a dog to a business conference, I think it should be understood that 1,000 people will want to pet your dog.
It's everyone's dog.
Yeah, it's everyone's dog.
Yeah. Well, that was really nice. We both instructed.
We did.
We got to instruct in the big room for safe practices.
Yes.
And this was the first year that it was like a slideshow instead of a workshop type thing, and I really liked it.
I thought it was really good. It's like, the 4th or 5th time we've done the class together somewhere, at least the 4th time. I really liked it. It was the biggest audience we've done it for, and it was the first time we had a slideshow. And previously the class has been kind of hands-on, like showing visual props and showing visual demonstrations, which we kind of thought in the past was better. But to be honest, it does eat up time, having to find the thing you're looking for, having to show the thing, having to use the little portable camera to get it on the screen, and even then it's moving around everywhere. So I kind of feel like in theory you would think that would be better, but actually just having the slideshow to show those images so everyone could see them the same amount, I think was better, and it allowed us to kind of like just focus a little bit more on like conveying the information verbally.
I think that it came across as a more professional class also, because we got to stay on time, we got to have like a really good running order, and we didn't forget anything. Like that, we got a lot of compliments that like the flow of the class was good and the content of the class was good. So I was really happy with it.
Yeah.
I also got to teach my nipple class in the big room, and I was very happy there. I haven't done any technique classes at the conference since 2019, so I was really happy to finally get back into technique stuff, because the last couple of years I've been like the safety classes guy, so it was nice to get back into technique things. And you got to do your transitioning class, which I think was really smart and really cool. There was a lot of like technical information, semi-math kind of content, but like it really helps to explain your point that like successful shops are built on strategy and not as much on like luck or a gut feeling.
Yeah, the time for luck has passed.
Yeah.
Like none of us are really...
We've all used it up.
Yeah, the luck has been used up, and now we have to like use our brains and strategize. And I feel like I was really happy with the class, so I hope that it came across how I wanted. It's always difficult not really knowing until you get the feedback, but I did have some verbal feedback at the end where people were appreciative of the information or found the information useful, which I really appreciated. It's a really important class to me because it covers a topic that's super close to my heart, which is basically like the inequality in access to capital in the piercing community, and how unhelpful and outdated the advice is to just spend more money. Because when we're looking at it through a lens of, just spend more money, we're saying that there is a financial gateway into the industry that some people aren't going to be able to meet. And of course, for an industry as varied and diverse as ours, I think we have to be looking at access points to the industry for all different income levels, even people that are making next to nothing. They still need to be taught how to strategize, how to calculate, even with things as little as how to make sure you're charging the right amount. Like what calculations can you use, what formulations can you use to make sure that you're not literally just hemorrhaging money with the way that your business model is operating. So I felt really proud to be able to share that, and I really hope that some people have gone home with some information that's useful for where they're at, that doesn't involve just, suddenly having access to more money than you currently do. So I hope that came across.
Yeah, well, you had a lot of people asking thoughtful questions at the end. Like, after the class was up, you had a bunch of people come and talk to you, and I think that that's always a sign that your class had good information and people want to kind of clarify and ask little things to make it more applicable to their shop. So I think it'll help a lot of people. And I was really glad that you got an opportunity to do it here, because I saw you do it at BMX, and I know that you tweak and improve your classes every time anyway. So I was really excited to see what you did for this year, and I think you really nailed it.
Well, I appreciate you looking in on it, and I just hope that I get another opportunity to teach again in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
I have a sneaking suspicion that you'll be asked back until you turn into dust.
Well, I hope so, but I don't know, and I think not knowing is what helps keep me sharp. So
yeah, we got to do some workshop stuff too. I got to be part of the needle blanks workshop in the new studio space, which I thought was awesome. I think if we have access to it again next year, we can plan for some really cool class content. I already had a lot of ideas about how that kind of space can be utilized, but I got to do a unit about how to use needle blanks to reverse direction and to basically replicate things like pin tapers for transfers, reversing direction, stuff like that, and different kinds of connector pins. So I thought that was nice to be able to do that stuff up close, to show you that you can just make this stuff right in your own hands. It's not something you don't have to do ordered in disposable tapers for every single piercing. There are a lot of ways that you can make the tools you need with things like needle blanks and connector wire, and it can become pretty affordable for you. So that was cool. And we got to both do the members open techniques workshop as facilitators, instructors. First time doing that, and that's been a career goal of mine for years. I've wanted to be part of that class. What were your thoughts on that? How do you feel like it went?
I feel like it went good. So we each had 4 groups of 20-minute sessions. So 4 20-minute sessions with different groups. And I feel like the 20 minutes was a good amount of time, because I feel like in that length of time you can really hit on some stuff in a really tight way that keeps it fresh in people's minds, that they can log in their minds as yes, that's a tip I can use. So I really tried to come up with some ideas that were, okay, if you're only going to take one thing away from this, here's what I want you to know, or here's the thing that I want to share. So I kind of tried to focus on that as much as possible. I think we each tried to show things that are kind of signature things, obviously not things that just I do or you do, but things that we really do a lot of. So I know for me it was all the different ways I like to use cotton buds for stuff and that kind of thing.
Yeah, how was the response to that?
Pretty good. A lot of people took pictures and things, and I think that a lot of people have reservations about using them because of the worry about them breaking. So being able to show how to minimize the risk of that, or pretty much exclude the risk of that, I think was quite helpful to people, because it helped them visualize what I'm actually doing when I'm using the cotton buds as an equipment source. The APP also has clearly invested quite a bit in all new disposable supplies for the workshop space. So I think we both noticed that there was loads of stuff, loads of props and tools and things to use. So
quite a bit of that was donated by Industrial String LLC too.
Oh, cool.
So I just want to say thanks to Maria and IS LLC, the needle vendor. So a lot of really cool stuff there. I liked seeing their booth in the expo, the new needle designs, like the heel bypass design, sort of not exactly a pre-crushed needle, but something where people want to get into that space and they're intimidated by like doing it themselves, doing the needle modifications themselves. They have like a factory made, like consistently made heel bypass needle now. So I thought that was a cool idea.
Yeah.
I focused on mostly septum clamp stuff in my little unit because I use septum clamps for a bunch of things other than just piercing septums. I showed how I use it for marking, something where if you want it like perpendicular on the back and the front as a good example for like anti-helix or full rook or even like forward nostrils. I show how I do my marks with a septum clamp. So I thought that was pretty fun to show that stuff off. Maybe we can get asked back to do it again in a future year.
We got to do the guided tour of the Body Piercing Archive exhibit for this year, which was about Jim Ward and the inception of Gauntlet.
Yeah, 50-year anniversary.
Some amazing artwork, really, really amazing artwork that we got to see. And just, like hearing all about Jim's life up until that point. I'm sure you probably wouldn't mind me saying that we'd found it quite funny that like at least a dozen times he would start a sentence with, so I was seeing this guy.
Yeah.
Like don't try and play a drinking game based around how many guys Jim Ward has been seeing.
Yeah.
It was just, so I was seeing this other guy and I was seeing this other guy. It was very funny.
I did like how like a lot of the inception of different things, like the things that gelled to bring body piercing from like a kink culture into a more of a business space. And a lot of it was like, oh, there was this guy that I thought was really hot and he had nipple piercings, so I just went up and asked where he got them done, and then that spiraled, and then you have like a ... and now we're sitting here in 2025 in like a giant expo space for a body piercing conference that had its seeds in like that kink culture in the 70s.
So it was nice getting to see a lot of the memorabilia and designs, tool designs, jewelry designs, artwork, and then of course there's the latest edition of PFIQ as well, that was supposed to be released something like 27 years ago, 25 years ago, how long ago?
Yeah, I think Jim said that was originally going to be published like back in the 90s or something like that, or maybe just the cross of the millennium.
I think it was like 27 years ago. I have that number stuck in my head, so maybe it's around that amount of time.
Yeah.
It was meant to be published and never was, so it's cool getting a copy of that.
Especially signed. It's nice. I feel like I have like a nice little comfortable collection. I know that I'm never going to be like a 100% completionist with my collection, but I'm glad that I have the pieces that I have. I like seeing all the original drawings from like a lot of the original PFIQ covers, and I like seeing a lot of artifacts about original jewelry and different like little behind the scenes thing about like this one person that I knew who doesn't really have a lot of credit, like they were massively influential for like this one particular thing, and I like thinking about little stuff like that. It's nice. The vendor floor was really cool. We had our booth for the week. Our Patreon exclusive piercing bumps shirts just like were gone almost instantly. Pretty much the first day, the majority of them were gone. I really like the design. I thought it was a great idea, and it was your idea, so I want to give you your flowers for that. So good job on your design this year.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to do an additional run of them for people that weren't able to get one at conference or weren't able to attend.
Yeah, so we're recording this on Saturday the 28th of June. I'll be home tomorrow, and we're both flying overnight, so we'll both be home tomorrow. But I think sometime early next week I'm going to put up a pre-order, and I think my idea is to do a black shirt with like glow-in-the-dark ink. I think that would be really cool for that design especially. So if anybody's interested in that, they can go to precisionbodyarts.com/shop. And then you can buy whatever's left over for conference merch. I have a few of the Purple Stain shirts, like the Prince Purple Rain logo, but it's Purple Stain, like another Genshin Violence kind of adjacent idea. I've got a few of the Statum Cult baseball tees left. We've got all of our new pin designs, including Lola's pierced Monstera leaf and the piercing like Pornhub looking logo and Purple Stain pins and all kinds of stuff. So go to precisionbodyarts.com/shop if you want to grab whatever's left from the merch, and if you want to do the pre-order for the new Goosebumps shirt, Piercing Bumps, Downsize or Die, glow-in-the-dark shirt. But yeah, it was pretty fun. I would imagine we'll have another booth next year. There were definitely some painful hiccups for the vendors this year.
Yeah.
There was an issue with one of the supply trucks that ended up screwing over a couple of the vendors, including Lousy Organics. So, feel pretty bad about that. But luckily, our stuff made it in. The boxes were damaged, and the product inside was still there. So happy for that. But
yeah.
Noticeable that there were less people this year. Did you feel that too?
So this is still, the biggest conference globally. So
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't go so far as to say it was quiet.
It wasn't quiet.
But we were here for that record-breaking attendance year,
Right,
which
the
was
post-pandemic boom.
yeah. So compared to that, certainly it was a bit quieter. But everybody that I talked to about it kind of said the same thing, which is yeah, we know it's not great, but it's also kind of nice
Yeah.
because it meant there wasn't that like the difference that we noticed was that on the first day it wasn't crazy busy, and often on the first day it is crazy busy, and it makes you think, well, oh, is it just not busier? But actually, we were kind of kept constantly busy throughout the entire week because I feel like there was less of a bottleneck of people trying to buy. People were buying from the vendor floor every day,
Yeah.
all through the week, fairly
Consistently,
steady.
but there were never really any pile-ups.
Right, whereas in other years there have been pile-ups. So obviously not great that there's not as high attendance as there has been in previous years, but at the same time, a lot of people were oh, it's kind of nice that we can just browse and have a
Yeah.
nosy at stuff without that dogpiling of are you buying that? I want to buy that. I didn't really get any of that energy at all at any of the booths that I visited, so
Yeah.
that was kind of nice.
It was nice to be able, so in previous years, if you weren't in line early and shopping on the first day, all the best stuff was just gone. But this year, it was there was still a little bit left on a Wednesday, and I didn't even get a chance to start shopping until Thursday.
Yeah,
So-
Thursday, Friday, we were both still shopping, and
Yeah.
other people were still shopping as well.
Right, so
So
I'm
it's
glad
a
that I
bit
got a
more
chance to
paced,
get some
yeah.
nice things. Who going into conference, who was on the top of your I want to check them out list? And then as a follow-up, who did you actually end up buying from, shopping with at the show?
So I think we all kind of wanted to get a hold of those Gorilla Glass weights.
The Gauntlet
Yeah.
anniversary weights?
I don't know who got them.
Shorty
'cause
got a pair.
I know Shorty got a pair, and
Yeah.
I did get to look at them, and they were amazing. But I feel a lot of people were eyeballing them, but then I think they only made 10 pairs or something. So I think a lot of people just gave up and were you know what?
Yeah.
Whoever's committed enough to wait in line for that long, let them buy them.
Yeah.
They want it more. But I managed to get some sacred symbols, which is, I don't always get a chance because they do always sell out really, really fast.
Yeah, but they were right next to us.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I waited patiently for the members' hour to pass. So I am a member, but when you're working on the vendor floor, you're not allowed in that first hour to use the member hour.
Because you weren't out waiting in line.
Yeah, it would give you a
be
bit of an unfair advantage. So I was just stood there patiently, waiting for everyone else to shop for an hour. And I was just oh, please let there be some stuff left. So I managed to get some sacred symbols, which I'm really excited about because I haven't had any to sell in a couple of years. I also got some new pieces from local natives.
I did too.
Who've always been great just with their customer service, and they were even able to do a repair for me this week at conference, which I didn't expect at all. I had brought a broken piece back in just to kind of hand off to them in person, just so I don't have to ship the piece. And because they're located in the Las Vegas area, they were actually able to do it for me this week, and I was super blown away by how amazing they're.
That's going to make you look really cool to your client.
Yeah, properly blown away by their customer service. And I'm kind of at a point, I think you are as well, where it's you just want to support the businesses that have helped you out. I got a nice new pair of nose rings from Leroy that they brought for me that I'd ordered a few weeks ago from them, and I was like, is there any way you can just bring them to conference for me? And they just, brought them here for me to pick up. So
I think they look really cool too.
Thank you.
My favorite thing that you bought at conference are your Mudang ear weights.
They're so cool.
Super cool baby hippo
I love
weights.
them.
Yeah.
I love them. If anyone else got the Mudang ear weights, we are so cool.
Who are they from again?
Symmetry.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, really, really cute design.
Yeah. I really like seeing, I mean, it's great to have some of the larger production vendors there supporting the show, but I also like seeing the smaller, like, maker vendors, like Orthodox and Seasons.
Seasons, yeah.
Seasons, seeing them,
But
Seasons Handmade.
I feel like there were lots of vendors this year I've never seen before. So, like, really cool to get to, at this point, still see, like, fresh designs from new makers.
Yeah.
Every year at conference. It's really nice that there is that, like, new design, fresh innovation coming through still. Like, it's not just all the same stuff. So
I have a client back home who is a fan of, like, jewelry from Mushroom, and we've custom ordered a couple of pieces from them. And I guess, like, while I was here, Evan set up, like, a custom order for a piece and was like, oh, do you think you could just maybe just get this? And I walked over and I was like, hey, do you have this? And they're like, yep, we've got one right here, bam. And, like, I needed it like rhodium coated. So they did that, like, on site, and it was great to just be able to, like, get it all done and then send Evan a message and be like, yep, got it, no problem, I'll be bringing it home with me, so the client doesn't have to wait however long for it. Like, that was really cool.
yeah, so there were lots of just really, really cool designs to look at, lots of new companies to check out. And it was nice. It was a little bit quieter. We still shifted a lot of merchandise as well. So it was nice to see so many people walking around, like, with our designs, and just getting a chance to, like, meet so many new people. Like, that's what always blows me away, is that, because I'm originally from a very small community, it just blows me away how many of us there are.
Yeah.
And from so many different places. I think that's part of vending that I really love, is that I'm not very good at meeting people, but vending gives you a chance to talk to people without there being any kind of social awkwardness, because you're there for more of a reason. So
yeah,
that was nice.
It was nice to be able to interact with people. A bunch of people said nice stuff about the podcast or our videos or classes or something like that. So I thought that was really nice. I really appreciated meeting people. I want to say a big shout out to the whole volunteer army, really. Caitlin McDermott and everybody working on registration, and all the volunteers, everybody working the doors for classes and at Expo and everything like that. Like, it's like an army of people to get all this stuff done. And this year they were a little bit short-staffed because, like, some of the volunteers, even some of the scholars, even people who had worked months to get scholarships, couldn't get to the U.S. because they couldn't get, like, so there's, not to get into it, but there's, like, an ESTA program for certain Europeans, different countries, and that's basically like a tourist kind of visa, which is all you need to be able to attend a conference like this. You don't need a work visa because there's, it's not compensated paid work, but some of those countries where they used to be able to get a really easy, like, tourist ESTA are like that. They're off the ESTA list now, and they have to get, like, a full-on visa, which is like weeks or months of work. And some of those scholars, some of those volunteers couldn't actually get a visa to travel to the U.S. in time. So my heart really goes out to the people who couldn't come to conference this year, even though they would have wanted to come to conference. So, hopefully we can get you here in future years. But, just know that you were missed on site.
It's such a complicated system for travel at the moment, and I think a lot of people don't understand that an ESTA and a visa are different things. Like, an ESTA is not a visa. An ESTA is a visa waiver. Like, an ESTA is a document that says this person is from a country where they don't need a visa if they're just coming for a holiday. You fill out a relatively short form, pay a really small fee, and then that's you for 2 years. You can go on holiday to the US, kind of thing. A lot of countries don't have the ESTA program, and visa appointments can take months to get.
Right.
And we've been through, I'm here on a visa, we've been through that process, so we also know that getting a visa is certainly not a rubber stamp.
No.
It's very much not a just turn up here and we'll stamp your thing. It's a lot more complicated. So,
and there's definitely a bias depending on what country is listed on your passport.
100%. So I do feel absolutely gutted for the people that weren't able to get visas in time and make it to conference. I haven't heard so far of anybody experiencing difficulties getting to and from conference,
No
so
harassment.
I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Yeah.
This is obviously just the last day of our time here, so fingers crossed there's nothing that comes up, but I like to think that we would have heard of it by now.
Yeah.
But of course, you never know what people's personal situations are, what's going on privately. But it seems, at face value at least, as though people have managed to make it in and out safely, which is amazing.
Yeah. We went to the closing party, and they gave out some nice awards. Cosmo Ferris got an award for volunteering, and really happy to see that. Definitely deserved. And just a quick reminder that there is an APP election cycle coming up in just a few months, and sorry Cosmo, I'm definitely going to nominate you again.
Cosmo's like, why do you hate me?
Well,
why do you keep making me do this?
I know that Cosmo has important work to do on
Yeah.
the membership committee, but I really think it's time to get Cosmo on the board. No more avoiding it, Cosmo. Some awards also. There was a joint award, the Josh Prentice Volunteer Appreciation Award, went to John Robertson and Shorty together, which is fantastic because they're like peanut butter and jelly. Like they're really a team when they're here, the Florida boys. So really nice to see their hard work appreciated and recognized. So congratulations to everybody, and congratulations to the outgoing board members. Congratulations to the incoming board members. Really excited to see what Sala's going to do on the board over the next couple of years, especially. What else to say after that? But it was a really nice night. We got to dress up and look very fancy. You got to look really cool in your romper, and I got to look, I think, swooshy in my kilt.
Yeah, and Nikki Holmes won the President's Award for all of her work and contributions towards the UKPP, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. I think sometimes, as a community in the UK, we do sometimes overlook or forget how much work has gone into the inception and the continuation of the UKPP when we think about all of the previous attempts that there had been historically to set up a UK professional piercing organization.
To my knowledge, there were at least 3 that tried.
It's incredibly difficult to bring people together. It's not, everyone doesn't always see eye to eye, and it does take a huge amount of work to compel people towards each other in that way. So it is an amazing achievement. And I think as a community, we should all be really proud of that. 10 years on, I can't even believe, I remember when it was first started, and now we're 10 years on from that. It is a huge milestone, so I hope all the people involved are very proud of themselves, and I hope that in 10 years time we can celebrate the 20th anniversary as well. But yeah, it was really lovely to see that recognition at an event like this, which is we're thousands of miles away from home, and there are organizations all over the world now, sister organizations all over the world. So I do think that, all of the community in the UK should be very proud, and we should recognize all of the work and effort that went into setting up the organization, and how much of her life Nikki has given towards it as well.
Yeah. What about classes? Did you get an opportunity to take many classes this year?
We only got to see a couple.
I got to see one.
Yeah. So we both went to see the Pain Rituals class.
The Pain Rituals of India with Jason D'Souza. And I thought it was great. I really like Jason's classes. I like him as a presenter because he's just very cheeky.
He is.
Like a lot of winks and nods kind of jokes.
Yeah.
It's amazing that someone can give us like an all access pass to a completely different culture of body piercing, because like body piercing is very westernized. It's very Americanized. Even in other parts of the world, it's kind of like washed with that American paintbrush. So it's nice to be reminded that body piercing has a really long and deep and important relevancy around the world. So it's great to be able to see some of those different perspectives shared at a conference like this.
Yeah, that was really great. I hope that in the years to come we get to see more of Jason and his style of class as well that just kind of helps open us up a little bit to other ways of piercing and expression and just the footage he was able to capture.
And it wasn't like, I think some people might get a little bit confused and be like, oh, this is like documentary footage that he dug up. And he's like, no, this was two streets away from my shop. And that's me holding the camera.
Yeah, taking selfies.
Right, yeah.
with the participants. So
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was a really, really awesome class to get a chance to see. So we didn't get a chance to see a lot, but I feel like what we did get to see was really, really good quality. So hopefully the rest of the conference will be received as well. But so far I've just heard good things.
Got a lot of swag. I think that this was definitely the year of the ribbon. I think people brought it to a whole new level of obnoxious excess in a good way.
I was glad that so many people wanted one of my spiritual prolapse ribbons.
Yeah, I'm glad you made those.
Definitely more people than I would have thought wanted to wear the spiritual prolapse ribbon. So I thought that was really cool. My first ever ribbon was a big success.
Yeah. We got to take you out to a very fancy dinner. So I have been coming to Las Vegas for over 25 years. I have done so many touristy things here that I'm pretty jaded over all of it. Like, we've been out to like $500 dinners at a steakhouse and like all kinds of really fancy things. And then this year I asked you what you maybe wanted to do for our fancy date night out, and you picked
Outback Steakhouse.
The Outback Steakhouse.
What's wrong with the Outback Steakhouse?
Lola got her first ever bloomin' onion, and it was a sight to behold. But we had a very nice dinner at the Outback Steakhouse.
I had a great time.
And I didn't have to tear my wallet in half to pay for it. So.
I had broccoli and a potato.
And a lobster tail.
And a lobster tail.
And a little steak.
And a little steak.
And yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, what more could you want?
Yeah,
you know?
It was good. Yeah, I think like this year was definitely like the austerity year for conference. Like, a lot of people, like, they came here, but they dialed it back a little bit. Maybe money they spent in the expo, maybe money they spent outside of the hotel or whatever. You know, maybe people stayed for a shorter amount of time or whatever. But I really appreciate people showing up, people continuing to support the organization and engage with the conference. A lot of new faces teaching, a lot of new faces attending, got to meet a lot of people at the expo. So I thought it was a really positive year.
Yeah.
Well, any other thoughts on it?
Just, you know, for people that are listening that were at conference and that are maybe like listening because they're feeling a little melancholy with the PVD, the post Vegas depression. Like, I've been 3 or 4 times. How many times have I been?
Well, your first year was 2019.
2019.
Had to skip 2020, and then 2021, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is probably your 6th conference.
No way.
Isn't it?
Well, okay, let's say it's my 5th conference.
Okay.
I still managed to cry twice this week because of you know, private stressors, personal stressors, things that you're having to dodge and manage whilst all the other craziness is going on. And this environment is constantly stimulating.
Yeah,
like,
overstimulating.
There was like a period of 3 or 4 days where I hadn't left the hotel, like I hadn't seen the sky. So we had a really lovely stay. You got us a gorgeous room. We had a couple of baths. It was really lovely. And like, this is the first year I've been here that I've actually been able to sleep all night as well. Like, I've never had that at a conference before. So like, I've been sleeping all night and getting lots of rest, and even still, I managed to have 2 little tiny cries. So like, it is incredibly normal to be just like massively over emotionally stimulated at an event like this, and that emotion has to come out somewhere. It has to manifest somewhere. So just know that if you're feeling that way, like, that's completely normal. You have to be incredibly seasoned at coming to an event like this, like Ryan is, to not feel like quite as, you know,
I feel
thrown off. Yeah, like even
I've
you.
been here so many times, and I still feel frazzled by it because it's like it's overwhelming. Like, you saw me on the first day of like setting up in the expo, where I'm just like a rabid bumblebee.
Yeah. Yeah, I know when to give you your space and when I can help and when I can only help by leaving you to it. So I like how we collaborate together, but I also know that there are times where you just need to be like Ryan of Ryan Land, and just to leave you to it for a few minutes. So
Yeah.
I think you did super well. I just wanted to mention for people who maybe aren't as used to this that like it is so incredibly normal to be massively overstimulated, massively emotionally drained, and all of that has to come out somewhere. Like it won't just dissipate by itself, and sometimes it can be laughing, it can be crying, it can be stress, but don't be surprised if you have that unresolved feeling inside. Like that's really normal, and I don't know if it's something that I'll ever be past. I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at it over the last few years, but it's a lot. Like it's definitely a lot.
Yeah. Try to, as you listen to this podcast or after or something, maybe just go through the pictures you took that week.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the pictures you posted on Facebook, the things that are a little bit more sanitized and selected. Like go through all like the junk pictures and like even the blurry ones and see like all the smiles, all the new friends you got to make, all the old friends that you got to catch up with, and realize like why we come here. It's not just to talk about body piercing, it's not just to try to buy jewelry, it's to see our friends and be engaged in the community. So when you go home, especially if you don't feel like you have that community where you live, it can feel really stark to have that kind of massive stimulation and then come back to your day-to-day and maybe not have those same kinds of connections like overflowing for you. So you hold on to the friendships you made, look at your photos, cherish your memories, and hopefully we'll see you again next year.
Hopefully.
Do you want to say anything else?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm very proud of you. You did really good this year, and I couldn't have done it without you. And one last quick shout out to Jewelry This Way for winning Best Multi-Booth. They had that kind of like blockbuster video looking booth, and it was really smart. So good job, Brian. Good job, Aaron. Good job, like everybody at Jewelry This Way.
Yeah, some incredible displays on the floor this year. It's lovely just seeing the creativity come through. Like, I love how as a group we can be really unhinged sometimes, and I think that seeing that unleashed in a conference space is just terrific.
Well, I also just like that some people still hold on to the fact that body piercing can just be fun and stupid.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be like contemporary and slick or intimidating or super stylish. It can just be fun and stupid sometimes, and I like it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, pet your pets. I guess, I don't know, let your kids out of that cage.
Take a couple of days to unload your goods. If you picked up some merchandise while you were here, you don't have to dive right into organizing all of that stuff. Just go home, go to sleep. It'll all be there waiting for you in the morning.
Yep. So we'll be back with another podcast at some point, and we'll talk to you later, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.